Greetings, visionaries. This is your host, the INFJ visionary. I wasn't even really sure what we could talk about today, but I just saw a video from a guy. It was very interesting because his channel seemed to be about finances or something, but he was talking about non-doing. He was also talking about non-duality. Those two things aren't the same, but I thought we could talk maybe about both. So, non-doing, I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of the I Ching. It's not like I get up every day and consult the I Ching. As a matter of fact, the only times I seem to consult it is when I'm having a feeling of despair, or I'm having a fight with my partner. That's about it. But then that's once in a while, maybe once a month, who knows? But also, I will say the I Ching, I got very deep into it about 15, 16, oh no, even further back, almost 20 years ago, when I was in the process of moving on from a long-term relationship I'd had for a long, long time. And I was riddled with doubt and not wanting to let my partner down, but also needing to move on. And I have maybe some of you have a wise older brother or sister or grandparent or somebody that you can consult, but I've never had that. I have had a few wise friends here and there, but quite often that might be a business relationship, so they're no good for personal problems. But I have to say that the I Ching is wonderful for anything, and if you haven't looked into it, the one that I totally recommend for us as moderns is, oh, what's it called? I'll find it here. It's Brian Brown Walker is the author. So that's really what you predominantly need to know, since it's always called the I Ching. Um, yeah, the I Ching or Book of Changes, A Guide to Life's Turning Points. He also has an app, which is less than the book and just as good because you can do a little quick reading. And interestingly, I don't know about all the other AIs, but Gemini, who can be very wise, at least the pro version, he loves helping you analyze I Ching readings. Anyway, getting back to the I Ching and doing versus non-doing, quite often if I'm upset and I consult the I Ching, almost always its advice is some sort of non-doing, especially if you're upset. If you're upset, it recommends that you just retreat into stillness and well, it would say the sage, but you could fill in the sage with the universe or God or anything that floated your boat that way, but something wiser and greater than yourself. Now, maybe you don't believe there's anything wiser or greater than yourself, and I think that would make you probably foolish, but no offense intended. I don't necessarily know the specific nature of the thing that is greater than myself, but I know there has to be something greater than myself, and intuitively I feel its presence all the time. Now, this gets into kind of the non duality part of this talk. Uh, I have, as I've said on the channel repeatedly, I've gone through a lot of different spiritual paths. My spiritual path right now is basically just to create my art and help people where I can and endeavor to understand the nature of reality and improve who and what I am. That was one of the visionaries' temple guardians who heard something, but it looks like he's quieted down now. Um, so non-duality, basically, if you don't know what that means, it means not good, not evil, everything just kind of relative. And on one hand, it's I think it's sort of true, but on the other hand, from our position of beings that are incarnated, having lived experience, you are confronted daily with decisions to make good or bad choices. Good choices, they serve you, but they also serve humanity as well. They're not strictly selfish, and bad choices almost invariably are bad because they are self-serving. So there is good and bad when it relates to us as individuals. It also is definitely real when it comes to uh, the forces at play inside of us. Some of them are positive, life affirming, and enriching, and others are depressing, self serving, venal, and bring us down, you know. So so much for non-duality. I'm not a big subscriber to it. In fact, I'll give you my honest opinion about it. I think a lot of people that are on non-dual spiritual paths are basically just mentally pleasuring themselves, if you want my honest opinion. Now, perhaps you could make an argument, well, that's because you're not spiritually realized visionary. And I couldn't disagree with you on that score. Perhaps if I was completely and utterly spiritually realized, I would be drinking the non-dual Kool-Aid. And it's not that it's exactly Kool-Aid either. I'll be fair. There's definitely something to seeing both the light and the dark as being essential. This is a place where the Western religions go off the rails a little bit because they sort of play hide and seek with darkness and evil. Is it an equal force, or was it created by the good? And if it was created by the good, that would mean that the good was evil. You see what I'm saying? So there's some inherent contradictions there. I prefer an idea more like evolution versus entropy, for example. The spirit, nature, life is evolving and moving forward, or it's devolving. It's becoming entropic. It is falling apart. I think this makes a lot more sense because you always have to strive. I don't know if you've noticed this, but in your own life, if you're not striving in a direction, you are going to fall back, and you may fall into depression, or you may fall into any number of negative sorts of consequences that are undesirable. And, well, just the idea of something being desirable or not. So, somebody that's on the non dual tip would say, well, it's not good or bad. Well, you must be sitting in a pretty good position where things are going well for you to be speaking that way. And so, in a sense, you could say a non dual perspective is always a perspective that comes from a place of comfort. Now, to be non dual in the face of adversity, that's respectable. I do respect that, and as somebody that's doing that, they're truly enlightened, and that's all good. So perhaps your host, the INFJ visionary, is that chasm between an enlightened state and the absence thereof seems like it's not that great a distance, but in my view, it's probably hundreds of lifetimes. Maybe. I don't know. They haven't given me the playbook. They just put me in the game. And like yourself, I'm just playing it. The other thing I wanted to say, so talking about the not doing, that is a valuable concept. You want to do if what you are doing is in the spirit of who you are, expressing yourself, positive movement and energy in the world, then you want to do. But when you do, always do so very lightly. Never engage in any kind of doing where it's do or die. Unless, of course, it's protecting your family or maybe times of war. I can't even get into all the exceptions, but you get what I'm saying. Anyway, I hope you got some value from today's talk, and until I come back, which hopefully will be in a couple days, Keep on keeping on, INFJ.